Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Apex Racing TV and welcome to a new season of the World GT Championship in association with Racehub and Simmortal Sim Racing Models. Hello, everybody. My name is Andrew Woodhouse and I'm joined here on Apex Racing TV by Adam Bath, and Alex Simpson will be doing the cameras for us today. And Adam, well, I'll bring you in, mate. Mainly, the main attraction of this series going forward is going to be the size of the fields. We have a full entry list. There are over 100 applicants. And we are with, well over 50 cars at the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit tonight.
Yeah, really looking forward to this. Three 15-minute races. A sold-out entry list as well. And looking at the entries we've got here today at Silverstone, 55 cars set to do battle in 3 super sprint races. So drivers are going to have to get their elbows out and find their own bit of track. It's going to be 3 very congested 20 minutes, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen.
It's a good job that we have got the Silverstone circuit to work with tonight, because one of the few circuits possibly where there's going to be enough space for all these machines out there. We've got the Audi, we've got the Mercedes, we've got the BMW, we've got the Ferrari, and it's going to be super out there. I really do think it's going to be great. One slightly disappointing thing to see is the Ford GT has gone extinct in this series, I think.
It's a shame, yeah. We saw Dennis Melcher doing his best with it last season. He even was able to manage to get a win out of the old girl, but she has been put in the home now, and we'll see which cars are going to be coming to the fore this season.
It says for the amount of drivers that entered this series. I saw the entry list go up. I thought, I might have a go at the World GTs next season. Well, it was already sold out, and there were already 50 people on the waiting list before I even thought about entry. So that shows how popular it's been. Credit to the admins on that. It's one of the best leagues we cover here on Apex Racing TV. Now, looking at the qualifying standings at the moment, just going through the final few moments of the qualifying session, Adam, but Carl Janssen, who is a newcomer to the series in the Audi, who's just binned it, incidentally, at Chapel, he will be starting on pole position, barring a miracle from anyone else. And he has a half-second lead over David Baker.
Yeah, Carl Janssen doing a very, very good job in that 1992 car. Driving forward as I get the Handy Spotters guide out, which is what you can do at home if you go to wgtc.uk. You can follow along with us as well. Driving very well in that 92 car, and yeah, quite a few tenths of a second ahead of everybody else. So hoping to see whether anyone can challenge him in the race. And we can also run you through the calendar that we've got for this season as well. We start out at Silverstone, 3 races tonight, the same at Sebring and at Road Atlanta the next 2 weeks. Then we have a week 13 break when the iRacing build gets updated. Then we'll have Barber Motorsports Park in March. Then we have our first endurance race of the season on the 26th of March, just before Easter, with circuits de Spa-Francorchamps, an hour and a half around there. Then Easter Monday, 3 20-minute races around Snetterton. Brands Hatch then follows the GP circuit there. Then Monza, where we saw one of the craziest finishes you'll ever see on iRacing last season. Suzuka, then after
how
that,
good was that, by the way?
That was amazing, wasn't it? Just ask Dave Baker about that. And then the final race of the season this year, on the 30th of April, will be the 1.5-hour endurance race around Daytona. So that should be pretty good as well.
There are all sorts of new drivers in the series, all sorts of teams, cars, and no doubt rivalries and great races we're going to see all season long here on the World GT Championship. And I'm looking forward to it. Looking through the list, Adam, look at some of the names that are in this series and some of the drivers that are down in the 30s and 40s. It's just ridiculous the amount of quality that this championship has now.
Yeah, we'll get onto the grid in a moment. We may even as well start going through it in a few seconds.
I mean, it's going to be difficult, I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't actually try to attempt the whole thing.
Probably a Guinness World Record somewhere for longest grid having to be read out. Probably in this series. But yeah, just looking down the field, we've got quite a few big names here. Dennis Melcher, we were just talking about him starting in 33rd. We've got Dion Phillips, John Roberts, King of the Ring. Stuart Atkinson down there as well. Maciek Sakovic, Club Series champion. Andrew Whitehead starting towards the rear of the field as well. And we've got, of course, the big names starting towards the front. And we'll run you through them now as we get onto the grid. Starting off pole position then, Radicals online, as you'd expect, they'd be near the front. And it is Carl Janssen starting on the pole. And then CQR Racehub's David Baker starting second. Chris Wood starting in third with Ash Sutton in fourth. A few World GT Series regulars there. Starting fifth, Fraser Williamson. Then sixth, Nicole Foggy. Miguel Freitas, car 999, starting in seventh place. The Team Ad driver there. Rolling start, of course, so we do have plenty of time to get you through this grid. Then we have Marco Mogren starting in 8th, Davey Witterball starting in 9th, Christian Rose rounding out the top 10 in the CQR Racehub Ferrari. And going into 11th, car 666. Unlucky for some, Stephen Baxter. Then Ross McFarlane starting in 12th. Then Michael Hall starting in 13th place. 14th will be Johnny Brandon. Stuart McFadden, the young Scot, starting in 15th. 16th will be Pete Newman. 17th car 007 will be Andy Shield. 18th place is going to be Stephen Dawson. Then Diogo Melrose starting in 19th. And 20th for Jake Blackhall. Then 21st will be James King. Good to see him at the Sim Expo last year. First time I've actually got to see him race since then, so we'll see how he can progress. And Matt Bunt, Pete Harrod, Craig Williams, and Josh Thompson. And then running up the top 30, Jerome Kaiser, David White, Dan Lenson. Paul Smith's got a stream going tonight, but I'm sure you'll have that on and this as well, so you can track his progress. And then rounding up the top 30 is a throw over to Andrew Woodhouse to run you through the rest of the grid. It's Nathaniel Simpson.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. And 31st is Ben Gregory in the Bitstein Racing car, the now the BMW, I believe, and it's the and then it's John Roberts in the boosted car. Then it's Matthew Keeber in 38th. Nick Sherman's in 39th and Stuart Atkinson in 40th. Stephen Burke is 41st and Maciek Sakovic 42nd. 43rd, Mark Woodhouse 44th. For Phil Bedford, Andrew Whitehead in 45th. 46th for Scott Malcolm. Jason Rowe is in 47th. And then it's Robert Lundgren in 48th. Chris White in 49th. 50th for Josh Rayfield. 51st, Joe McDonald. 52nd, Dave Crozier. And then starting at the back, no time set, Michael Blake in 53rd, Chaz Draycott 54th, and 55th for Lee Woodburn.
Running through some of the teams that we've got racing in this season. Of course, CQR expects to have a strong presence once again. They fielded both the Race Hub and the S-Line teams. Team Mad back again. CQR Club as well, making it 3 CQR teams running here. You can't rule them out at a shot at the team's championship. Team Mad have a strong presence as well. I think they've got 3 different teams represented on the field. You've got Thrust Vector as well, the likes of Chaz Draycott, Steve Burke, Tom Jacobs, all racing. And then Northern Lights Racing, who have looked very strong in the last few series that we've been covering on Apex Racing TV, and look to get even stronger as the BSRTC Pro Series returns. They've got Johnny Brandon, Nicole Foggy, Ross McFarlane, all 3 Scotsmen. And we move into Radicals. We've got Christian Tanahoto, then Marco Mogren, Ryan Littlemore as well, Daniel McCauley, Josh Thompson, Carl Janssen. That is an insanely strong lineup. Then we go into the BMWs, fielded by Paul Smith, Dennis Melchert, and Stephen Dawson. And then the car of Dion Phillips, Lee Woodburn. My spotter's guide is so bad I can't read it, and my eyesight's bad, that's what it is. Then we've got boosted, Scuderia boosted, no less. Stuart Atkinson, John Roberts, the Swede, Robert Lundgren. I'm sure he was attending Rally Sweden at the weekend. And Andrew Whitehead as well, and Stephen Baxter. Mixture of cars being fielded there. We've got Ferraris, BMWs, and Mercedes. Then we've got Simmortal with Dan Lenson, and Joe McDonald, the American, and Michael Blake, Matt Keeber, Josh Rayfield, Phil Bedford, now driving for the Bushfink Racing team, and James King, mentioned him, Fraser Williamson, and then we get into the Club 73 team with Clinton Bell, Chris White, got Nick Schumans, racing as a privateer it looks like, same for Bart Delman, Gavin Wakefield, Anwar Smith, Stuart McFadden as well, racing as a privateer this season. And then Davey Witterbowles, Ben Gregory, Ash Sutton. He's got plenty of CQR cars racing for him, but he's racing for himself. He is a privateer, car 116, the British touring car champion. And we'll Not last but by no means least, a car 500, Craig Williams in his Ferrari. So that's a quick rundown of the entry list as the field is now heading into Bridge on the warm-up lap.
And just very quickly, the third man in our commentary box for the season will be Alex Simpson. He's not on the commentary tonight, but I just wanted to bring you in for just a few seconds, mate. What a sight this is with over 50 cars on the grid.
Yeah, fantastic, and nice place to start it off. You know, I love a bit of Silverstone, and yeah, I'm sure this will be a great race.
Quickly, what are you looking for from this track tonight?
Well, just lots of good hard racing, I think. GTs, you know, you can get up close, doesn't really suffer too much with the dirty air, so you can get moves done here. Yeah, should be good. Let's hope it's a nice clean start to the season.
Give us a holler if you see anything massive at the back of the grid. Here we go then, the pace car is about to pull in, and any second now, Carl Janssen is going to hit the accelerator. Here he comes, and take us to the green flag as the World GT Championship begins Season 3 here on Apex Racing TV, and it's happened already. Coming over the start-finish line, there's cars sideways, it's Nicole Foggy, there's a car in the air, that's a TBR car. It has happened instantly, Adam.
Was about 2 or 3 seconds, no safety car though, then everyone has to continue. But yeah, the Northern Lights racing car, Nicole Foggy, causing a whole load of issues for not just him, everyone else.
I didn't see exactly what happened there, Adam, to be honest. But Alex, I wonder if did you see anything in terms of what caused that from your position?
No, I didn't, unfortunately. Just one of the cars just got sideways going down the straight. We've seen it at the World Championship race here, didn't we? Similar sort of incident. Unfortunately, they just ricocheted back into this racing line with the barrier so close. So, yeah, a bit unfortunate.
Just had a look myself, Woody. It was Fraser Williamson and the Marco Mogren. They came together, and looks like Nicole Foggy was a bit of an innocent victim in all of that. And remarkably, most of the field did a great job of avoiding it all.
Williamson's car is total. Mogren is still going, remarkably, given the look that he had when he used to race in the BSRTC. He's actually still going in the Radicals Mercedes. Now, leading the way then is Carl Janssen in the Audi, the pole sitter. Dave Baker is in second. What a job by him to get the Ferrari up in second place. Third is Ash Sutton for Mercedes, it's the QR Club. And then Chris Wood in fourth. Fifth is Mogren, and sixth is Rose. Seventh Witterbowles, eighth Baxter, ninth Freitas, and 10th is Stuart McFadden. At the end of the first lap of the season, an eventful one already. We will get the death toll, as it were, in a couple of laps' time from the first lap accident. But yeah, a few drivers will be very much affected by that. Johnny Brandon will be one of them. Northern Lights Racing Mercedes, and he's got a lot of damage to the front there, which surely will affect him on such an aero-dependent circuit as Silverstone.
Yeah, the first lot that are out already then. Nick Sherman's out, Ben Warren also in the pits, Ross McFarlane. Other big losers, Fraser Williamson down a whole load of positions already, Nathaniel Simpson and Dennis Melchert all showing signs of being involved, and of course Nicole Foggy down 22 positions. 3
wide nearly down the hanger straight. Look at that pack of cars.
Oh my goodness,
from Andy Shield backwards.
I think Newman's involved in that battle as well.
Josh Thompson having a look up the inside. Well, when isn't he? In the Radicals Mercedes.
Let's say in terms of quality.
And the Ferrari having a look as well. Look, the Ferrari having a go up the inside. That is, forgive us on the car driver numbers and things so far. That's Michael Hall, car 112.
Yeah, he was battling it out with Josh Thompson, wasn't he? Slow down there for the BMW. That's Stephen Dawson. He has got some sort of issue because he is on the lead lap, so either a slowdown or something for the BMW.
Have to be a slowdown, I think. They're driving for Smile Time Racing, who team manager is our very own Paul Smith.
Something's happened to Chris Wood. He was in 4th position. He's gone off at Priory. The
well
Audi,
off, isn't he?
He's on the national circuit.
He ended up on the back end of the Wellington Straight. I have no idea what happened to him there. Let's have a quick gander.
Tank slapper, it looks like, going through Priory.
Oh man, and he just ended up exiting stage right there. Well, 90 degrees to the circuit at one point, Adam, there.
We were talking before we went on air that the Audi is the quickest car now, we gather from the balance of performance, but it looks like it's a bit of a handful.
There's a crashed Mercedes in the middle of the track, car 17.
David White. How did this happen?
Oh, it's nearly caused some other things. He needs to get that off the racing line if he can. At the very least, get it towed back to the pits. And he has. And I thought it was just my computer. I thought things were just jumping around there, but it wasn't. Crashback.
Yeah, just looking back myself. Down the front straight, Stuart McFadden, I think it is. Oh no, Craig Williams, I apologise. Craig Williams getting into the back, just tagging the Mercedes and nothing that he could do. Hard into the wall.
Sprint race is here, but the drivers just need to exercise a tiny bit of caution. You know, it's a long season here. Do not want to be throwing away points needlessly at the beginning of the season. Good start then by Carl Janssen. He was giving me the impression though in qualifying that it was a little bit win it or bin it in terms of how he was driving. I don't know whether that was just his effort in qualifying, but you have to think with the Audi being a little difficult, shall we say, Adam, even though it's fast, I think he's going to have to be careful out there. He's going to have to make sure he's consistent, he doesn't hit the curbs too hard, and you know, make sure he gets to the end of this race and score as many points as he can.
Yeah, he's doing well so far. 3-second lead inside the first 5 minutes. That Titanic scrap for 13th place on back just continues. Thompson leading Chris Wood. And we've got Michael Hall, Craig Williams, who we saw earlier. I see smoke at the back of though of that shot. I don't know who it is. I think it's Diogo Melro, perhaps, in the...
It's Melro, yes.
It is Melro. That is at Priory again, and that is another Audi. So I wonder if he lost it on his own or he may have got a bit of help. The Portuguese driver, just looking back myself, he was up the inside of a Mercedes. That was Matt Kieber, and he just loses it on his own. A tricky corner it's turning out to be for this Audi.
Indeed it is, and it's a tricky corner anyway. Regardless of which car you're driving, it's not the easiest. One of the corners I missed from the old Grand Prix layout is Priory, but just looking at drivers who've made gains in the opening 3 laps, Pete Harrods gained 12 positions, he's up to 11th. Josh Thompson likewise up to 13th. Craig Williams 8 positions gained to 16th, 7 gained for Jeroen Kaiser, 9 gained for Paul Smith up to 20th. 22nd is Ben Gregory up from 31st. Dion Phillips has gained 13th place, is up to 23rd. 12 gained for John Robertson, 25th. Ryan Littlemore up 9, Matt Kieber up 11. 13 gained for Woodhouse. Atkinson is up 11. 17 gained for Jason Rowe. That's a great start from Jason Rowe. Andrew Whitehead up 14. Scott Malcolm up 11. Chris White up 13. And then 16 for Michael Blake. 12 for Josh Rayfield. Dave Crozier is up by quite a substantial amount of places as well. That is 13 of them.
Good battle going on here between a BMW and a Mercedes. Classic battle this, isn't it then? Paul Smith versus Nicole Foggy. Foggy continuing to rise back up the field after his huge scare at the start of the race. Just behind them, spin, Dion Phillips and the Scuderia boosted car. That is John Roberts. Yeah,
it was the green boosted motorsport car in the spin. Now, Foggy's got some damage to the rear wing, Adam, so he might struggle with the top speed down the Hanger Straight. And Smith will have the cornering speed in that BMW.
Yeah, the BMW, if there's one thing that it continues to have, is the pace in the corners. And Fridus Maggots and Beckett's in Chapel section, this could help him out quite a bit. Mercedes,
I know you're a big fan of the BMW over the years.
Yeah, loyal companion, me and the BMW. Go hand in hand, really.
I do point out as well that they've got racing for Karl Melcher on the side of the car. In honour of Dennis Melcher's father, who sadly died last year. The great gesture from Paul Smith there and the team.
Hey, thanks for Dennis Melcher for the gifts we received in the post.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Foggy tried up the inside. Smith defending the line well, gave him just enough space. And behind them, the Fitzstye BMW of Ben Gregory, who's changed from the Ferrari. Now, how will that affect him into the coming season?
Could be interesting. Intrigued to see how it will go. Problem for Dan Lenson, by the way, one of the few McLarens that we've got on the field. He's gone off at club, just trying to regain his composure. He was running in 23rd place when that happened, so shame for that.
He was just behind this group. I'm slightly surprised that the McLaren isn't been used more this season, because it was strong last year in the hands of Baker and Harrod.
Sorry guys, I'll just interrupt here.
Whatever.
Paul and one of the Radical cars, Josh Thompson, got themselves together through Luffield. A couple of other cars involved in it.
There we go.
Thompson's still stuck there. He needs to, he's done the right thing there, doing the old 3-point turn. If that was real life, Alex, he'd have beached that, doing that.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Just a little tap, was it?
Yeah, it was really not much in it, but enough to get going. Chris Wood's around as well. Some issues, issues for him.
Yeah, and that could be a thing.
That's proving the Audi, Adam, I think.
That is a good. Yeah, we saw what happened. We saw in qualifying. Obviously, you didn't get to see it at home, but we did. Carl Janssen losing it in that very corner, Copse corner, on a qualifying lap, and it looks like that Chris Wood has almost mimicked it. So
yeah, he lost it a couple of times in the qualifying session, did Janssen, and I think this track is okay for the Audi, but I think there's going to be some that we go to where you have to use the curbs.
I reckon that
where they're not going to be very happy at all.
I reckon a Radicals and a CQR car colliding could be a regular thing this season. There's plenty of CQR cars.
There's plenty of Radicals cars that can evenly match. How many Radicals cars are there? I think there are at least 4. No, there are 6. Kanahato, Mogren, Littlemore, Macaulay, Thompson and Janssen. And CQR cars on there. Baker, Rose and Hall for Racehub, Bunn, Harrod, Blackhall and Shield. Oh, sorry, there's 3 CQR Club, Bunn, Harrod and Sutton. And then for CQR S-Line, it's Steele, White and Newman. So yeah, the odds are quite high on this. And Team Mad have got 3 teams in there as well. Sakovic, Kaiser and Wood. Then Crozier, Melrose and Rowe. Melrose and Jason Rowe, which is going to be fun for us all season. Scott Malcolm, Mark Woodhouse and Miguel Freitas are the 3rd team, so 3 strong teams in there. Let's have a look. Does anybody else have more than one team? Yeah, Boosted have got
quite a few cars.
Teams.
Quite a few drivers and quite a few different cars as well. Good battle as
Atkinson, Robert and Lundgren, and then Whitehead and Baxter. Yeah, sorry.
A good battle going on between one of the boosted cars. It's Miguel Freitas trying to get past even Baxter here.
Freitas is a Team Mad car as well. And then Baxter's done really well, hasn't he, in the last year. His 2017 was very good. He's continuing to improve, always showing the promise there that he did with in the BSR Formula Renault. Was the first time he really showed his mettle on TV at least, and well, put the AMP category in that, and continuing to be a force. I reckon he'll be good in this series. He'll have a chance of doing some good things at the end of the season, I think, Baxter, with his consistency, but he just needs to be careful that he doesn't get caught up in the incidents. Like, it'll be so easy to do in this championship with so many cars. Remember, I mean, we're missing a handful of drivers even from the first meeting, and there are still 53 cars out there.
Miguel Freitas as well has proven his talents in many cars, fast and slow. VW Jetta, Kia Optima, and now mixing it up in the Audi R8 LMS, or the Audi R8 GT3, sorry.
Seems to be that it's nearly the same car, close enough. Yeah, but it doesn't seem to matter what Miguel Freitas drives, and he seems to be able to get the most out of it. Somebody else who's had a cracking race actually is the Ferrari in front of Kaspersky, Internet Security Ferrari, with Stuart McFadden, and showing his skills out there is the Scottish driver. And yeah, he's a young man with a lot of talent, and he just needs to, I think, focus on just getting that consistency together over a season, because he's another one he's fast enough, and needs to bring it together, I think.
Lap 8 then, 6 minutes to go here in the opening race of the season in the World GT Championship. Carl Janssen has managed to extend the gap to 5.5 seconds over Dave Baker. Him and Ash Sutton trading lap times, really very, very close between them, and it's the same between Marco Mogren and Christian Rowe. So early pattern starting to emerge about who are the quickest drivers in this series. Of course, stay with us tonight because race 2 and race 3 are going to be completely the opposite. The fast cars are going to be starting in the midfield when we get open the reverse grid wheel, and it's really a unique thing about this series.
Could even be the back of the
Yeah.
grid. Foggy and Smith are still battling. 17th and 18th places. Smith still fighting hard against the Mercedes. And you can see that Smith's got a bit of a vigour about him, Adam, because last season he wouldn't have been able to fight the Mercedes.
Looks like the BMW's got a new lease of life, and so has Paul.
Oh, he's got a good run out of left field here, mate.
You'll get a great view as well if you're watching this stream. We'll go on board with him as well as we go through this final corner. Here he goes.
Look, he's able to get the slipstream and pull alongside the Mercedes, which he wasn't able to do in 2017. Trying to go around the outside of Cops Corner. He's not going to make it there, but we could stay with this battle if we go on board with him. We could see him make an attack down the Hanger Straight as he goes through this classic section of course through Maggots and Beckett's, Adam. One of the best in motor racing anywhere.
Brilliant. Still brilliant now. Just behind him, Ben Gregory. Fantastic job with the spotter's guide, and now he's also in a BMW, and he now's got a great run on Paul Smith. Paul's now got to turn from the offence to the defence, going into Stowe. Up the inside he goes, Ben Gregory. Oh, contact!
He's made a mistake, Gregory. He locks up hard and into Smith. Yorkshireman's not going to be happy with that. He's used to racing with Ben Gregory for a few years now.
Commentated on Ben Gregory as well in the club series, which used to run on Sunday nights here on Apex Racing TV.
He did, and with yourself as well. Of course, great series. I drove in it. You guys commentated on it. Pete Harron's still in the McLaren. Adam, when we were saying about McLarens, he's one of the ones who's soldiered on with it. Doing a good job up 11 spots to 12th place. Looking good, Harrod.
Yeah, quite a few McLarens. Oh, I say few McLarens. There is one of them in Pete Harrod. Not many.
Harrod has got one. We mentioned that Dan Lenson had one. Apart from that, you know,
I think that is it. Yeah, I think that could be it in terms of
I think that's literally it. We're back to the days of
McLarens.
not many McLarens at all. I think the guys were saying it's quite hard to drive though, aren't they? So, you know, I think it's not quite, you know, particularly comfortable over a long distance.
Just to fill you in on the... Oh, sorry, Alex.
I was going to say, call me a cynic, but the BOP to me kind of looks like it distributes out the sales of the GT3 cars quite nicely for iRacing. One season one car, next season another car, another car, another car.
I would have never imagined anything of the sort.
I'm glad we're not on iRacing Live tonight.
It's a good money-making scheme, I'll give them that.
There is a point there. There is a point there.
Well, because I heard that they tried to model it, and they were like, well, we're going to take the Audi as the base this time. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and that did rubbish last season. So it's just like, you know, they just go round and round and round with which one, and it just keeps the sales going of all of them, doesn't it? So, but I'm sure it's nothing like that. I'm sure they're genuinely trying to get that BOP spot on.
I'm sure when we get when we get a Lamborghini or we get a Bentley or when we get another BMW or whatever,
another Porsche,
then it's going to be that one, and it's going to be that one, and yeah, we're not cynical at all, ladies and gentlemen. No, we wouldn't dare. We'll give a stern written letter to Alex Simpson later on for that comment, dear mate. We'll inundate him with a letter, Adam.
Oh, I've had plenty of them the last few weeks. Three cars battling. Stephen Burke.
They're telling
Matt
you that
Bunn.
you got someone's time wrong in the biathlon by 0.1 of a second or something.
Yeah, it was pretty close to that. Oh, this might not end well here. Stephen Burke and Ross McFarlane having a scrap here. Ferrari versus Mercedes, another Northern Lights racing car, scrapping away in the closing stages of this opening race.
There is a point though which I hadn't really thought about. Yeah, the Audi was never actually at the top of the BOP even from when it came in. I don't think. So I think it was always the McLaren and the BMW at one bit, wasn't it? But yeah. So what I will say is there's still 32 drivers within a minute. Isn't bad considering that there was that big start line accident that obviously split the field up quite substantially.
Yeah, car off, I think. It's Stuart Atkinson, who was running in 26th place at the time in his Scuderia boosted car, the pink one. If that helps you identify it a bit more.
But there's been a fight at the football, or something's gone off. I think someone's gone off as well. Manchester City down to 10 men, but less about that. Carl Janssen is running away with this race. Absolutely destroying the field, really. 6.5 seconds, so he's turning that qualifying pace into race pace. And he was 0.5 of a second quicker than David Baker. He's pretty much pulled that out every single lap since the beginning of the race, just like clockwork. And he's almost lapping the back of the field, look.
Absolutely, you bring it on to him because this is the start of the final lap of the race. Just under 40 seconds to go, so when Carl Janssen comes across the line the next time, he'll pick up the checkered flag, and as long as he doesn't make any mistakes, take his first win of the season.
Defending the lead like Pontus Janssen.
Oh.
Potentially with that one. Baker and Sutton, it's getting fairly close here between the stablemates at CQR. Baker in the Ferrari, Sutton in the Mercedes. Sutton, of course, the 2017 British Touring Car Champion, which is still, I find amazing to say. It's brilliant that he's gone and done that. Still don't know how he managed it, Adam. It was very hard fought and very well earned.
Yeah, still amazed now, really, the progression that he's had. Formula Ford up into Renault Clios, straight into the British Touring Cars, the MG factory team.
Joe McDonald's pulled off to the side of the road.
Okay, sorry, Sharon.
I'm quite sure why he's done that.
Yeah, Joe McDonald, the American, pulled off to the side of the road. Don't know what was going on there. But just a few corners to go now for Carl Janssen. Seems to have more discipline than Pontus Janssen, I must admit.
Oh dear, never mind. Carl Janssen then through the final sector, through Brooklands and Luffield to come. And it's first blood to Audi, it's first blood to Radicals online here in the World GT Championship with Racehub and Simmortal as he crosses the line and takes round 1 of the season. Great job by Janssen from pole position. He's led every lap, Adam, and he's going to take the win. Yeah.
First blood to Radicals and CQR pushed them all the way. Baker second, Ash Sutton third. Very close for fourth. It is going to be Mogren that takes fourth, Rose fifth. And then the rest of the top 10 coming across the line now. Witterbowles, Fadden, Baxter. Freighter's going to get 9 from rounding out the top 10 is going to be Johnny Brandon.
It was actually the lapped car of Chris White that you saw there.
Oh, yes, it was, yeah.
With, just to clear that up, but yeah. Very, very good indeed. We've still got quite a few drivers out there. Keeber, Lenson and Wood, yeah.
Yeah, that is very close.
McLaren versus Audi. Would have been the McLaren that gets there down. Lenson, in one of the few McLarens, goes over the line ahead of Chris Wood, who started third. Fair to say he had a pretty bad outing here.
Matt Bunn versus Stephen, it's not Stephen Burke, is it? That's just a lapped car, I believe it is. They come across the line, yeah, it's Ross McFarlane down in 48th place. Pulling for the Northern Lights Racing car in this opening one, but Matt Bunn comes across the line, takes 30th. Then we've got Stephen Burke, then Jason Rowe, Sherman's, Magic Sakovic. 34th is going to go to Phil Bedford. Then a very close battle here between John Roberts and Fraser Williamson, who's gained quite a few places on this final lap. He was 38th as he started the last lap, comes across the line and takes 36th.
Williamson started 5th. So that's the pace of the TBR Audi. Ahead of John, just behind John Roberts, ahead of Dennis Melcher. And yeah, Melrose, Newman, Rayfield coming across.
Look at this on the slowdown lap. Thompson must
have had a problem, Adam. I think he's not out of fuel. He must have had an issue on the final lap because he was well ahead of Crozier and Rayfield. So going to end up being the last car on the lead lap is Josh Thompson. So we could have, now with the reverse grid, for those who are new to the series, we spin the wheel, wherever the number lands is where which driver will be going on to pole position, and we could, Adam, have a 50 car reverse here with a full.
Really looking forward to it, and we'll find out who's going to be starting on that pole in a moment. I was trying to find what happened to Josh Thompson, but hopefully we can get a word with him at the end of the evening after we've done all 3 races. We'll probably be finished the 3rd race by 9:45, so stay with us for that. Carl Janssen then takes the opening race of the season. First win for him, first win for Audi, first win for Radicals in the World GT Championship. Dave Baker second, third Ash Sutton. 3 different manufacturers on the podium there. all... No, not all German. It's Baker in second in the Ferrari, of course. Marco Mogren finishing in fourth, Christian Rose fifth, Davey Witterbols finishing in sixth, and McFadden in seventh. Good solid performance there by the Scotsman, and Stephen Baxter in eighth. Ninth for Miguel Freitas and 10th for Johnny Brandon. 11th for Andy Shield, 12th Pete Harrod. Good fight through the field from Pete, gaining 11 positions to 12th. And Craig Williams 13th place, another good drive from him. And 14th for Jake Blackhall. Really amazing, really, considering that he's racing up against cars that are half the world away from him. No, that Oasis quote wasn't intended. Then we go on to Pete Harrod. Then we go on to Stephen Dawson's story in 15th. Your own Kaiser in 16th. Nico Foggy, amazing that he finished in 17th place, because when we saw the start, it looked like it was going to be only ending up in one place, and that was the pit lane. Paul Smith, 18th. 19th, Ben Gregory. The two of them managed to stay together despite their contact on the track. And Ryan Littlemore finishing in 20th place. 15 positions gain there for Littlemore. Then Michael Hall finishing in 21st place. A few positions dropped there. And Dan Lenson, we saw him off at club, but that didn't seem to stop the McLaren at all, and he managed to just pip Chris Wood to 22nd place. 24th for Matt Keever. James King in his opening race in the World GT Championship finishing in 25th. Then Bart Delman 26th. 27th for Mark Woodhouse. Michael Blake finishing in 28th after starting 53rd. Not often you can say that. And that might be one of the performances of the evening so far there by Michael Blake. Nate Simpson finishing in 29th, Matt Bunn 30th, Stephen Burke 31st, 32nd Jason Rowe, Maciek Sakovic 9 positions gained to 33rd, then Phil Bedford in 34th, John Roberts 35th, Fraser Williamson finishing in 36th position, gaining a few positions on the final lap. However, he was involved in the opening front straight shenanigans. And Dennis Melcher 37th, Stuart Atkinson 38th, 39th Scott Malcolm, there we go, easy for me to say. And then Diogo Mauer finishing in 40th, issues for him at the start of the race. Pete Newman 41st, Josh Rayfield 42nd, Dave Crozier 43rd, Josh Thompson, something happened to him, and it meant that he dropped towards the rear end of the lead lap at the end. And then the cars one lap down or more. Chris White, Andrew Whitehead, Ross McFarlane, Joe McDonald, Nick Shermans, Ben Warren as well, all one lap down. These drivers, of course, recipients of the fast repair. Those of you that are unfamiliar with the rules in this World GT Championship, you do get one fast repair. So if you tow back to the pits, you get a new car and then you go on your way. So that has saved quite a few of these drivers today. Dion Phillips, 5 laps down, along with David White and Robert Lundgren. It doesn't matter what series poor Rob is in, it just seems to end in DNF. So he finished 53rd, 10 laps down, and that concludes the finishing order from the opening race of the day. So we've got a reverse grid now to sort out.
Yeah, sadly, it doesn't really seem to end much better for poor old Robert Lundgren, does it? I'm sure he'll be back for the next one, of course, and see how we get on. And speaking of the next race, speaking of race 2 of the evening, here in the World GT Championship, it's over to our esteemed colleague, our Racing World Championship driver, Road Pro Series champion Alex Simpson, to do something that's a lot less difficult than winning the Pro Series, and that is to press the button to see who's going to be on pole.
Yeah, I think I can manage that. Here we go. Looks like it's going to be a fairly sizable one. It is indeed 30th place.
Well, 30th place would be a sizable one in any other series, but in the World GT Championship, it's a very small one. Matt Bunn is going to be starting on the pole for a second race. Nathaniel Simpson going to be starting in second, Michael Blake third, Mark Woodhouse fourth, and Bart Delman in fifth. Poor Carl Janssen, he hasn't had to overtake a car all evening, but he's going to have to in the second race.
Going to have to overtake 29 of them if he wants to repeat his heroics from race 1. We'll see how he gets on. He won by so much that you think he might have half a shot at that. So stick with us here on Apex Racing TV for 2 more rounds of the World GT Championship after this break here on Apex Racing TV.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
in the outside, contact made, 56 slides it at a 4, who's gonna be at the stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all over the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. iRacing's web-based interface allows members to compare stats and test drive any combination of car and track instantly. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 60,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsport organizations like SRO Motorsports Group to deliver virtual races based on the real-life Blancpain GT series. iRacing's Blancpain Endurance series features team racing, giving members the ability to build a team and participate in races ranging from 3 hours to 24 hours. Additional partners include NASCAR, IMSA, V8 Supercars, IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own 24 hours of Spa, Bathurst 1000, Daytona 500, and many more. iRacing.com, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to Apex Racing TV and the World GT Championship in association with Racehub and Simmortal Sim Racing Models. Andrew Woodhouse here with Adam Bath and Alex Simpson on the cameras, and occasionally chipping in with some words of wisdom. And Alex, I'll bring you in first this time, actually, mate. And what did you make of the first race, and what do you expect from the reverse grid now that we've given it a 30-car swap?
Yeah, reasonable first race, a lot of action, all the way through the pack as well. Bit unfortunate, the first lap incident. I think it'll be a little bit more scrappy, this one. The reverse grids always are, and that's just the nature of, you know, a reverse grid. So anyone expecting to see perfectly clean racing from the next couple of races, you got another thing coming, that's for sure. But it will still be good, no doubt, and it'll be interesting to see how some of the quick guys can fare in getting back towards the front, because there is a lot of cars out there.
Well, that's your job to keep an eye on the big ones and tell us where they are. Adam, for Mercedes on the front of the grid, should be an interesting race.
Yeah, we can run you through some of it now as they're just heading down the Hanger Straight. Quite a lot of them, isn't there? Matt Bunn does not start in the pole position. Yeah, he does start in the pole position. Nathaniel Simpson starting in second. Third is Michael Blake. Then fourth, Mark Woodhouse in his Team Mad Mercedes. Then fifth is Bart Delman. Sixth is James King. Seventh, Matt Keever. Eighth, Chris Wood. Ninth, Dan Lenson. And 10th, Michael Hall. Ryan Littlemore starting in 11th. 12th, Ben Gregory. 13th is Paul Smith. 14th, Nicole Foggy. 15th, Sharon Kaiser. Winner round here in the BSR Winter Series. 16th, Stephen Dawson. Jake Blackhall, 17th. 18th, Craig Williams. 19th, Pete Harrod. And 20th, Andy Shield, car 007. And Johnny Brandon in 21st. 22nd, Miguel Freitas. 23rd, Stephen Baxter. Quite funny that. Car 999, Miguel Freitas. And then turn the lines upside down. And then you've got Stephen Baxter in car 666. Stuart McFadden, 24th. 25th, Davey Witterballs. Christian Rose, Marco Mogren. Then Ash Sutton. Then Dave Baker. And then our race one winner, Carl Janssen, starting in 30th. As the field goes through the second half of the lap now, running through some notable drivers. Maciek Sakovic starting in 33rd, John Roberts, the king of the ring, 35th. Fraser Williamson starting in 36th, he was a high qualifier in race 1. Diogo Melro in the Audi starting in 40th, Pete Newman's Ferrari in 41st. Josh Thompson starting in 44th, one to watch for definite. And then starting at the back of the grid, it's going to be Robert Lundgren and Chaz Draycott in 54th.
All right, just you were saying that it was 999 and 666. Well, above them was Andy Shield in the 007 and Johnny Brandon in the 7, which effectively is the same number. Here we go then, round Luffield, and we're going to get this one underway very soon with car 11. Matt Bunny goes straight away. Is that too early? I'm not quite sure, but he's gone anyway. Massive jump off the start. And Alex, just from a rules point of view, would that be okay?
Yeah, fine, no problems there.
Yep. Looked like it was very early though. That
actually spreads the pack out, so probably sensible.
Yeah, not a bad idea at all. Going through the first couple of corners, Adam, it looks like everybody seems to be okay at this point.
Yeah, we're pretty close to going to Maggots and Beckett's for the first time. A bit of Archie going on there between Paul Smith, Ben Gregory, and who's that flying around the outside? That is Nicole Foggy. He was in the walls at the start of the race in race 1, but it looks like he's a man on a mission here as we start race 2.
Starting 14th, I think he's got a decent chance to win the race, Nicole Foggy. We'll see how quickly he can make his way through the field, but you remember he had a titanic battle with Paul Smith, and he does not want that to happen again, as he's right through on the BMW straight away. So the Scotsman going past the Englishman into Stowe and going through nice and easily for Foggy. Very wide there in front of Gregory to the Beamer. And then it's Kaiser. We said we're strong round here, Adam, in the Mercedes, but Team Mad looking for a good result here. They haven't really got anyone near the front of the field. Matt Gunn leading for CQR Club.
Oh, car off at the Abbey chicane. I'm trying to find out who it is. They've done a David Coulthard on it. Also off is one of the Mercs. That is Jake Blackhall in the CQR Club. Up the inside goes the Ferrari, and he gets forced out wide into the gravel at Priory. And it's still going on.
Look at this, yeah.
Marco Mogren rubbing it up.
Very close. Williams and Mogren. Then it's Brandon just behind spin, and it's Andy Shield.
Again.
He's been hit by a CQR car, that's Jake Blackhall. So teammates ending up hitting each other. Not really anybody's fault there, I wouldn't have thought.
If there was such thing as the worst possible lap, I think Andy Shield might have just had it there. He was just getting forced out wide at every corner, and in the end it culminated in the contacts in the final corner at Luffield.
Yeah, not fun at all for Shield. 007, of course. Licence to drop down the order. I think it's the only thing that he's achieved in this one so far. I'm sure he'll be able to make a few of those positions back by the end, if his car isn't too damaged. Now, looking back through the field, there's Bunn leads and Simpson in second, Blake in third. Oh, there's a big battle for fourth, and up the inside goes car. I can't read the number, I'm afraid. Bart Dalman it was, but he's actually lost out here to Woodhouse and to Wood.
Just been watching Stuart McFadden try and put up a resolute defence against Carl Janssen, the race 1 winner. In the end, he had to yield. Janssen trying to get some positions already. He's gained 10 already, and we're only a lap and a half in.
Well, he's only 10 seconds off the lead, and he won race 1 by 8 seconds. He does still have an opportunity to get at least into the top 10. You would think, given his pace. James King's up in the top 10 in what looks like about 8th place in the Audi. So Team Bushvik Racing. Behind him is Ryan Littlemore. Used to be an Apex Racing UK driver, of course. Now driving for Radicals. Doing a decent job out there. Is Ryan, one position gain for him. Behind them is Keeber, Foggy, Lenson and Smith, and then Gregory's having a look at Kaiser. And these two have been battling for a few years as well.
Yes, they're just renewing their battle, I think, as they go through the final corner. Kaiser leads this battle, then it is Gregory, then Stephen Dawson.
Sorry, Adam Hall and Woodhouse through Cops. I think there might have been a little bit of contact. It's only slight if there was any. And Woodhouse dropping down the order, well, not dropping down the order too far, just one position loss for him.
Yeah, getting passed by Bart Delman. Down to 7th position, only a few positions lost. Michael Hall, 5 positions gained now, he's up to 5th. And
you can see Ryan Littlemore's interested in the Radicals Mercedes as well. And now the slipstream for King.
Bushvink looking strong here, going into Stowe. Up the inside he goes. Mercedes versus Audi. Who's gonna... No one wants to give an inch here, do they? And the Radicals car just watching, hoping that something goes on between these two going into club. He picks the inside. King around the outside.
Oh, and King trying to keep Woodhouse in check.
Here comes Foggy.
Foggy then into Woodhouse. Oh, Woodhouse goes off. Foggy's off on the other side. And very lucky that they didn't collect any of the other drivers. But that was just an unfortunate one for Nickel Foggy, starting the race and starting the defence of the championship in such a terrible way.
Starting that race too well as well. Up the inside.
Oh wow!
Bomb.
Look at the Mercedes having a go. That was not going to work. Off goes the BMW
and the McLaren. Fraser Williamson also in the mix now. He's at the inside as they're trying to get some grip back on those tyres. They're going to be covered in gravel.
It Was it Marco Bogren who decided to try and do the impossible there?
I think it was Kaiser.
No, it was Kaiser. Sorry, it wasn't Bogren at all, was it? He may have looked at the wrong car.
In the final corner we go then. Paul Smith versus the aforementioned Marco Mogren. BMW holding back one of the quickest drivers in driving for one of the quickest teams. Here they
What
go.
a sight these cars are coming through on the stream. Looks fantastic. Thank you for joining us here on Apex Racing TV. Andrew Woodhouse and Adam Bath in the commentary box. Alex Simpson joining us periodically as well.
Look at this.
Adam, it looks brilliant, this, doesn't it?
The two Radicals cars trying to fight their way through the field together. They're coming up on one of the few McLarens in the field here in Darn Lenson.
Oh my word, look at that behind them as well.
Goodness me. We've got Paul Smith, Baxter, Dawson, a few Steves in there.
Several Steves. Oh, here we go. Radicals cars super close to each other. Don't hit each other, boys. Rule number 1, don't crash into your teammate. That's also probably rules 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 as well.
They wouldn't be the first teammates to clash.
We've had them in this. Well, we've had them in this very race already.
Very close. Chris Wood's up to second place, by the way. He's got past Nate Simpson, so Chris Wood continuing to climb up through the field, lapping quicker by half a second than Matt Bunn in front.
Well, if you remember, the late 80s at this very circuit, Nigel Mansell and Riccardo Patrese knocking 7 bells out of each other on this very circuit. They didn't crash into each other, but that's an all-time great battle. Here comes Janssen up the inside of Lenson and going through very nicely there. Looking good there, Janssen.
Next up for him, 3 different cars. He's first got to get past the Ferrari, then after that it's the Beamer of Ben Gregory, and then it's the Mercedes of Jerome Kaiser, who's holding his own in 10th place here. 5 positions gained, going well so far, but Gregory wants to get that place. Here he comes to the outside, going into Copse. Oof, might try and set him up on the exit here, but here come the Audis of Janssen and the Ferrari of Williams as well. They're going to be right with these guys if they continue to battle.
And this is a cracking fight in the middle of the field. Just to let you know as well that the lead battle is heating up very slowly. Matt Bunn is less than a second now ahead of Chris Wood. The Audi looks like it's on form this season, that the car has been improved over the last few weeks, and Chris Wood, who, to be very fair to him, Adam, was already a front runner last season. He did win a couple of races, didn't he? And he didn't need the car to be any better, but he's managed to gain even more time now because Bunn went wide at Vale, which means he's compromised for club. And can Chris Wood, the team mad Audi, get closer and closer to car 11? And Bunn, by the way, seems to be getting on much better with the Mercedes than he was with the Ferrari. He had one too many spins in the Italian car last year. He changed to German machinery, and the German GT3s look like they're really out in force here today.
That was the club car off at Club, wasn't it? There,
Yes.
Matt Bunn. Couldn't have written it any better, and Chris Wood smelt some blood in the water here. And
It's a good job it's not called CQRO Rouge, isn't it? Otherwise he would be in trouble.
or CQR Bridge.
There's time for that, isn't there? Michael Hall and Michael Blake and Vardauman are battling for 4th, 5th and 6th. I say battling, it's not super close, but it is. That's just the nature of this series. When you say that that's not a close battle, then that's telling you something. Kyle Janssen now up into the top 10 and with some clear air in front of him. There's 2 seconds to Matthew Keeber. Probably less than 2 seconds now. It's about 1 second now to Keeber. And Keeber is about 1 second behind Littlemore.
What a lap that's been then from Janssen. We were looking at that battle for the lead, and while we were looking at it, he gained 2 or 3 places.
He's gone and done a 47.7 as well.
Personal best, well, fastest lap of anybody on that last lap.
The next fastest man out there,
Here comes the lead, by the way,
was James King on a 1:48.3.
Now, obviously, it's very difficult to set personal bests when you're stuck in the mire that is this insane traffic jam that is the World GT Championship.
Oh, it's ridiculous, isn't it? But it's still a great job to get out in front of that group and really put in a great time. Chris Wood really stalking Matt Bunn now. Matt Bunn is one of the chief league admins, one of the brains behind this series, leading the way. He's a very capable driver, Adam. He just needs to he's definitely one that needs to focus on finishing the races and cutting down on the spins, because we joked last season about Matt's spun and all that, but he does need to cut that out, doesn't he?
Well, Matt Bunn is one of the admins on this. No wonder he does so well.
Hey, you had to get it in, and we have got it, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Bathy will be here for another hour or so. But Bunn leads the way from Chris Wood. Nate Simpson in third. Fourth is Michael Holt in the Ferrari. Fifth is Michael Blake. Then it's Matt Dowman. Then it's James King. Ryan Littlemore is eighth. Carl Jansen's just taken Kieber, and he's up to ninth. And then Kieber is in 10th. 11th is Kaiser. 12th Gregory. Then Williams, Ogren and Smith. That's the top 15 covered. I'm just looking a bit further down, Adam. It looks like there's an almighty scrap going on for, well, starting with Johnny Brandon and his Northern Lights Racing Mercedes car 7. That's in 18th place. Behind them is Rose, Baker, McFadden, Blackhall, Freitas, Sakovic, Roberts and Melrose. Some brilliant drivers in this group, and they're battling outside the top 20.
You might have to cut away from them, I'm afraid, because Chris Wood's up the inside here into club.
Of course he is, as soon as I mention anything else.
I would love to look at it.
No, of course he is. So it's typical. Chris Wood, though, brilliant offensive move then. See if he can get the move done. Bunn. Oh, he tried his best. Oh,
he was in his blind spot then, wasn't he?
They're almost making contact. Bunn's going to try a big cutback. Bunn with a cutback through Abbey. Oh, now he's going to be brave if he wants to have a go in Bridge. He's not going to have a go in Bridge. Might go into Priory. Here we go. Sends it up the inside into the left-hander. Fast corner this about 90 miles an hour, and he's going to have the inside for Brooklands. But he hangs on, Chris Wood, and he has the line for Luffield. And this is going to be a big sweeping effort by Matt Bunn, I think, this, Adam.
I don't think it was intended. He nearly lost the front going on the exit.
Oh, he got a good run. He's got a good run. Gaining on the Audi. Gonna have half a chance of getting this position back into Cop's corner, surely not. And he decides not to do that, but should be able to stick with Chris Wood. He was faster, was car 87, Adam, but not by too much. Having left Club 73 Racing, which is no longer looks like it's in existence, going to Team Mad.
We have got a few of them in the field today. Club 73, yeah.
Oh, my bad.
They were just a bit down the entry list. We've got Clinton Bell and Chris White on the entry list. I don't think they're here.
Oh,
today.
They're down there. They're right at the bottom, right? Okay, yeah. No worries. Sorry, I didn't say that. Then it was small writing. It's true. But yeah, sorry. So apologies there, gentlemen. But yeah. So Chris Wood has left them though. He's gone to Team Mad, and looks like to be making the most of this Audi.
Well, welcome to the World GT Championship, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that battle. Carl Jansen is fighting his way once again through the field. He's now up to 7th place, 23 positions gained, 4 seconds off the lead with 6 minutes to go. I think he probably could be on for a top 5 here. He's got 2 of them in front, and they are James King and Bart Delman.
No, he's 1 second quicker than pretty much anyone else on the circuit. Is Jansen at the minute. And, having a look up the inside is Delman on Michael Blake. He's one of the league sponsors. No wonder he's doing so well.
Oh, Jansen up the inside. The Mercedes tries everything.
He's made the move into Bridge. There's no answer from Delman.
Man on a mission.
Privateer entry, Delman, this year, the Belgian.
James King up the inside as well. He fancies a bit of the action as well in the Bushfink racing car.
Oh, and it looks like he's going to go through, is he? No, he gets a twitch in the middle of Luffield. Loses a bit of momentum, does King. Round the outside then. And gets that drive off the corner, which that was famous last season for the Mercedes boys, wasn't it, Adam, in terms of the drive off the corner and the acceleration it had?
Absolutely dominated when they were here in 2017. And as more cars get revealed in Formula 1, great livery in the Red Bull. Have a look at that as well while we're on a break. But got a few more cars getting announced tomorrow.
That's not the finished one, but yeah, they were out in force at Silverstone. Seeing some great entries this season, I'm sure. Looking further down the order then, there's great scraps all the way through the field. Just quickly looking at 36, 37, 38 for the and that is Rayfield, White and Whitehead. And then behind them is a great battle between David White, Atkinson, Crozier, Sherman, Thompson and Williamson.
First chance to see the Club 73 cars that we were talking about earlier. Chris White in the BMW.
Sorry about that to them, I do apologise. But there's so many cars, it's quite easy to miss some off.
Don't blame me at all. And look at him, he's going to the inside, forcing the Mercedes of Rayfield into defence, and he nearly runs into the back of him.
A little bit erratic from Rayfield on the way in, and White not really managing to...
who's this?
Whitehead up the inside. Does he give him a nudge? No, he doesn't. He doesn't Austin Dillon him. And there goes... Dave Crozier's on the grass. Bit of a mistake going into Vale. He's going to team principal, going to be dropping down the order. They're about 46, 47th place. Battle for third, Adam is raging.
Yeah, Nate Smith versus Michael Hall going on here. Smith driving...
Simpson, that is.
Oh yeah, Simpson, sorry. driving in
Alex,
the
how did he forget
Mercedes?
that name? Dear me.
Sorry, need to unmute myself. Yeah, I don't know. You're fine.
Alex Smith in the commentary box, San Francisco 49ers quarterback. Of back in the day, at least, not anymore. Dear me, showing bad American football knowledge too. At the same time, so Simpson going down the back straight, and he's got
Here comes Janssen as well. Oh, the inside.
What a move!
Dummy. Been watching too much Mansell versus PK.
Oh, I tell you what, though, we were just on about that. Yeah, it was. Was it PK? Was it?
Yeah, 87 it was.
Oh, sorry, not Patrese. Dear me, why didn't you correct me? As they've got Simpson now under pressure from Janssen. Janssen's in the top 5, side 30th, ladies and gentlemen.
He's 2 points. He's only, he's still 4 seconds off the lead, but I didn't expect him to be catching these two with just 2 minutes to go in the race.
Tell you what, he's not going to win the race, but
he's on course for a podium.
Not going to be far off, is he? Dear me, we might be able to see them by the end. I mean, he can see them, but he's going into Priory. Look at that, and that is great skill. We're seeing an emerging star here in the World GT Championship. He's obviously no newcomer, Carl Janssen, just to this series, but such pace here, brilliant overtaking to go with it. And he's shown that he's not just a one-trick pony, Adam. He's not just a qualifying king.
He's not a truly.
Race master as well is Carl Janssen, up into third position, only 1.8 seconds behind Matt Bunn.
Got 2 laps to catch him. We're on the penultimate lap of the race now. I think he does have the highest I rating in the field. Obviously that doesn't mean anything. Of course we wait for Jake Sperry's sim racing rankings to be released, and of course this championship counts towards them.
Don't think he's capable of catching Chris Wood even in 2 laps, but he might catch Matt Bunn. You never know. Bunn's 1.8 seconds clear of it. James King's back to 6th place. Ryan Littlemore still hanging on in the top 10. Matt Keeber having a great race. Keeber was a little subdued in the Ferrari last season, but this season he seems like he's found his calling with the Mercedes. Paul Smith still running well in the top 15. In 14th place, looking down the order, Dave Baker's getting 10 positions. He's up to 19. Using all that touring car experience to navigate these shorter races, and he's side by side with Johnny Brandon. And Brandon cuts him off.
Out of the 54 cars that started the race, 53 is still running.
And Foggy is the only one who's... Foggy and Lundgren. Lundgren's out as well. Unsurprisingly, Adam, unfortunately for him. I thought he would be. If there's one car retired, it's going to be Lundgren, isn't it?
McLaren in all sorts of strife here as Ben Gregory tries to get past Dan Lenson.
I will just clarify that comment about Robert Lundgren before anybody gets on me in the chat. He's usually the one who gets hit off. He's not usually the one who does the hitting, so I'm not slagging him off at all. It's just what seems to happen to him. He seems to get caught up in things that are not his fault.
Right then, 1 more lap to go. Carl Janssen flashing the lights, doing everything he can to intimidate Matt Bunn because he is coming, and we've got 1 lap to decide this 2nd place.
The rest of the league's going to be saying he's some success ballast on that Audi, because already we're saying championship material from Carl Janssen. And he's catching Matt Bunn, and I fear there's nothing the Mercedes can do about it. Audi on the warpath, Radicals online.
And it's a CQR Club car in. Matt Bunn. Oh!
Janssen driving for the Radicals online team, the JRT outfit.
Here he goes, round the outside of Stowe, into Club. This should be it.
Bunn's fighting back on the brakes, very late on the brakes, and not as late as Carl Janssen. He manages to brake late and get it stopped and hit the apex, and generally just get it right. Brilliant racing, and you can see in the background you've got King versus Simpson into the Abbey chicane on the final lap, and King trying to get that outside. Oh,
he's on the grass.
He's done a Schumacher. Michael Schumacher in, I think it was 2002, on the grass coming out of Abbey.
But here comes Chris Wood then, through the final corner. Checker flag at the ready. 2 in 2 for Audi. Radicals in race 1. Team Mad in race 2.
Brilliant job. Chris Wood wins the second race of the day here in the World GT Championship. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. Carl Janssen, what a performance. That is one of the best drives I think I've ever seen on Apex Racing TV, with the quality of the field and the class of car with the quicker cars that we normally see with the Kias, Adam, and managing to get that much overtaking done, that's pretty spectacular indeed.
Drag
Still
race
going.
Yeah, drag race of 16th. Christian Rose and Dan Lenson crossed the line, 5 thousandths of a second between them.
Oh, look at this. Whitehead, Thompson, Williamson and McFadden.
Just in front of them, it's pretty close between White and Jason Rowe. It's going to be White that finishes ahead.
Well, who's going to get this? It's going to be is it going to be the BMW?
Just
Gets there, Whitehead.
Thompson 38th.
That's a good job by Andrew Whitehead to keep those two guys behind. Thompson, who is a very, very strong driver indeed, and Williamson qualified in the top 10. Unbelievable.
Something happened to Ben Warren on that last lap. Don't know what happened to him. Either a disconnect or something like that, because there is no incident limit in this series. I was going to try and find some time to run you through how the incident points work, but there's just so much action going on.
Might not get any time. Yeah, you're right. Over the line comes Pete Harrod, take 50th place. Oh dear. Alex, there aren't many times that you're going to come over the line and take 50th place.
No. It's a fair point. You'd be like, okay.
It's like, well, I hope it's a full is what he's going to be thinking.
Yeah.
What did you make of that race, mate, while we've got you here?
Yeah, good race. Great job by Wood. Good to see him, stick with his Audi, and he's been rewarded with that, hasn't he? Put up with all that hard work last season. So yeah, he deserved to bounce back into the new season. Got himself a win. And what a great fight back from, well, not fight back, but what a great race from Janssen coming through.
I'm going to say he looks pretty special, doesn't he, at this point?
Yeah, looks very, very quick. Guys are going to have to step it up a little bit. If they're going to keep with him. He's able to slice through the traffic. I mean, we're used to seeing like Sutton and Baker coming through and stuff like that. But yeah, he came through at a serious rate or not, so very impressed.
Just a word on Baker and Sutton from two of the guys who qualified quite high up in race 1. Baker gained 11 positions, Adam. Ash Sutton, quite surprisingly actually, lost 1 position in that race. So we're not used to seeing him going backwards, but Car 116, that's exactly what happened to him that time. Chaz Draycott, 23 positions gained as well.
There you go. Great job by Chaz as well.
Very good, yeah. He didn't take the starting race one, I don't think.
No, he didn't take the start, so he was starting stone dead last for this one. So car 22, the Thrust Vector Ferrari, doing pretty good. Now, I know these guys are eager to get the session up for race 3, which of course is the third and final race of the evening. So we'll quickly run you through the finishing order. And what a day for Audi, and what a day if your name begins with C as well, because Carl Janssen in race 1, Chris Wood in race 2. I bet Christian Rose and Craig Williams and Chaz Draycott and Chris White, just to name a few, have got their fingers crossed that it will be them that are getting race 3 win. Carl Jansen finishing second, Matt Bunn third, fourth Michael Hall, fifth Nate Simpson, sixth for James King, seventh Michael Blake, Bart Delman in eighth, Ryan Littlemore in ninth, and Jeroen Kaiser running out the top 10. Good race meeting so far as well by the Dutchman. Marco Mogren, 27th to 11th. Good job there by Marco. Matt Keeber, 7th down to 12th in the end, but 12th place for Matt Keeber isn't too shabby. Paul Smith finishing in 13th. He started 13th as well, so I'm sure he had a whole lot of action going on his Twitch stream. Craig Williams in 14th, 15th for Ben Gregory, 16th for Christian Rose. Dan Lenson, the McLaren, fought his way against every other manufacturer to finish 17th. Dave Baker, 18th, 19th Johnny Brandon and Jake Blackhall, the Kiwi, finishing in 20th. 21st for Diogo Melro, 22nd for Miguel Freitas, 23rd for Stephen Baxter. Funnily enough, car 999 and car 666 both finishing where they started. Pete Newman 24th after starting 41st, so the Ferrari was able to gain some positions in the end. Same for Maciek Sakovic finishing 25th, and John Roberts, who finished in 26th. Dennis Melcher gained 10 positions to finish in 27th, then Ross McFarlane 47th to 28th, proving that the Northern Lights racing cars cannot be discounted if they ever get near the front. Ash Sutton, you were mentioning him, he finished in 29th place, lost a place. Dion Phillips 51st to 30th. The XD Racing Ferrari did have issues in the opening race, but it did come good towards the end there. Then Chaz Draycott 31st after starting stone dead last. Stephen Dawson 32nd, 33rd for Phil Bedford, then Chris White, David White then after him, Jason Rowe, car 888, then Andrew Whitehead 37th, holding back Josh Thompson and Fraser Williamson, two very quick drivers. Stuart McFadden 40th, Stephen Burke 41st, 42nd for Josh Rayfield, 43rd to Stuart Atkinson, 44th for Witterballs, 45th for Nick Shermans, and then 46th Mark Woodhouse, who did start on the second row of the grid but did have issues. He may even have started from the pit lane, I reckon. I did see a few cars that were there when we were waiting to go. Andy Shield 47th, he got hit and did pretty much everything else on the opening lap. Then Dave Crozier, Joe McDonald, Pete Harrod finishing in 50th place. He'll be hoping for a full. Then Scott Malcolm and then Ben Warren 1 lap down. He will be on the pole if we get a full. And then Robert Lundgren 4 laps down in 53rd, and Nicole Foggy hoping for better things in race 3. The final race of the day, and we've got to get the reverse grid wheel done now.
I'll jump straight to it then. Let's give it a spin and see where we're going to end up. Could be a lot smaller, this one. Might tick over to 34th. Nowhere near. 20th place, just a diddy one.
20th. Right then, that puts Jake Blackhall onto the pole. Then Johnny Brandon, so it's an JB front row. Then Dave Baker, it's a double D second row. Dave Baker and Dan Lenson. And then Christian Rose in 5th and Ben Gregory in 6th. That's how the front 3 rows will be lining up for the final race.
Perfect. And we'll see how they get on when we come back here on Apex Racing TV. You will not want to miss race 3. Should be a cracker. We'll see you in a bit.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
The outside contact made. 56 slides it at a 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even. Give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all over the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. iRacing's web-based interface allows members to compare stats and test drive any combination of car and track instantly. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 60,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsport organizations like SRO Motorsports Group to deliver virtual races based on the real-life Blancpain GT series. iRacing's Blancpain Endurance Series features team racing, giving members the ability to build a team and participate in races ranging from 3 hours to 24 hours. Additional partners include NASCAR, IMSA, V8 Supercars, IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own 24 hours of Spa, Bathurst 1000, Daytona 500, and many more. iRacing.com, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car.
Final race of the evening here in the World GT Championship, supported by Racehub and Simmortal Sim Racing Models. Here on Apex Racing TV, Andrew Woodhouse with Adam Bath and Alex Simpson on the cameras. And Adam, well, Silverstone has provided some great racing so far. We're thinking that we haven't seen the best of it just yet.
Wonder if we could see a giant killing to mirror what's just taken place in the football. But yeah, we're only through the starting grid then as we get ready to go here. Could have Carl Janssen taking a second win in 3 races because he isn't starting too far away from the front, at least in reverse grid terms anyway. Starting on the pole then is going to be Jake Blackhall, starting second Johnny Brandon, and Dave Baker and Dan Lenson on the second row of the grid, and Christian Rose and Ben Gregory row 3, Craig Williams and then Paul Smith, and then row 5 Matt Keever and Marco Mogren. Johan Kaiser and Ryan Littlemore starting on row 6. Bart Dowman and Michael Blake on row 7. James King in 15th and Nate Simpson in 16th. And then it's Michael Hall and Matt Bunn, 17th and 18th. 19th place, Carl Jensen, and 20th, Chris Wood. 21st, Diogo Melro. Then it's Miguel Freitas and Stephen Baxter, who seem to have been inseparable the last race or so. Then Pete Newman, 24th, Maciek Sakovic, 25th, John Roberts and Dennis Melcher, 26th and 27th, Ross McFarlane in 28th, Ash Sutton 29th and Dion Phillips in 30th, Chaz Draycott 31st, and Stephen Dawson in 32nd, Phil Bedford in 33rd, Chris White 34th, David White 35th, 36th Jason Rowe, Andrew Whitehead starting in 37th, and Josh Thompson, a lot of work for him to do, starting in 38th, then Fraser Williamson, Stuart McFadden, Stephen Burke in 41st, Josh Rayfield in 42nd, Stuart Atkinson 43rd, David Witterball's 44th, Nick Sherman's 45th, and then Mark Woodhouse in 46th. 47th is going to be Andy Shield, then 48th Dave Crozier, Joe McDonald 49th, and Pete Harron 50th. And the cars that are going to be starting in the back of the grid, 51st Scott Malcolm, Robert Lundgren starting in 52nd, and one man that we'll definitely be keeping our eyes on, starting in 53rd, reigning series champion, car 66 Nicole Foggy.
Wonder how high he can get up the grid. Alex, just a quick prediction from yourself, mate. Foggy, what do you think he can do from there?
Well, I think he's got a good chance. That's for sure. But don't count out Blackhall. He's very quick as well. And of course, on the front row, Carl, I expect him to move forward, but yeah, this could be an interesting little battle come the end of the race.
I do apologise, viewers, in advance. My paints have gone absolutely haywire. Are they just now correcting themselves? So, if we do get any of the drivers wrong, that's probably the reason why. But I think it is sorting itself out right now. A lot of cars on this grid, over 50, and it's been a good meeting so far, Adam. And I think, got a feeling, like I said, that this one's going to be pretty special. We'll see.
Look forward to this one. Really looking forward to it. What a great meeting it's been to start the season. Wonder as we go through the season whether certain tracks will suit different cars. Of course, we go to quite a few different tracks. Next week we go to Sebring in America on the 26th of February. Looking forward to that one as Jake Blackhall just starts to slow the field up a bit now as we go into Abbey and then Road Atlanta after that. So two very different tracks in the next 2 weeks. We're looking forward to seeing how the cars will go around Snetterton, a track that since the building of the 300 layout doesn't have many straights on it now. Yeah, quite a bit of a way to go and quite a way to decide this championship. But at the moment, one driver and one team looking very, very good at the moment. But once Northern Lights Racing get going, I reckon they could be in with a shout along with CQR.
Yeah, I think it'd be foolish to rule them out at this early stage and see what can happen here, because Johnny Brandon, very quick, he's got a chance to take a win for Northern Lights Racing. Jake Blackhall, who has the prerogative, it's his decision when he takes the green flag. Here he goes, and when's he going to go? He goes now, does Jake Blackhall, and the green flag flies. The start of race 3 here in the World GT Championship here on Apex Racing TV. They pile into Cops Corner then. Blackhall leading. Baker already up to second ahead of Brandon. But Baker's up to take a tighter line through Cops, Adam, and means Brandon can draw alongside him into the complex. But Baker manages to just slot in front.
Just about.
There's a spinner. It's a CQR S-Line car.
Bun.
Who's been hit. Don't know who by. Let's find that out. I don't know if he was hit by another driver or he just lost the car, but looked like he was turned.
And he finished on the podium in race 2. Oh, he did get hit. Absolutely pummeled into by...
Oh! And Brandon's gone right in front of the field. And off goes Lenson into the wall.
Oh, one of the McLarens, yeah. Well, I'll tell you who the Audi is because it could be important. It was Carl Janssen that hit Matt Bunn, and there is a penalty system. So,
and he's hit one of the league admins, which will make it 3 times as bad. No, but Janssen, yeah, might be off to see the stewards after that one. He's taking on now Nathaniel Simpson and another Audi, which is well, that is Chris Wood that's just got ahead of him. Shame for Johnny Brandon. Northern Lights Racing look like they've finally got a car up there. Whoa, Ferrari sideways. It is Craig Williams. He's lost a few positions. He was running in 3rd, but looks like Gregory and Rose have just got by. Did a good job to prevent a crash there, Craig Williams. End of lap 1 then. Blackhall leads, Baker 2nd, Gregory 3rd, Williams 4th, Rose in 5th, Smith in 6th, Mogren 7th, 8th for Matthew Keeber, 9th Littlemore, and 10th is Kaiser. And that is a pretty good start for a few drivers. Ryan Littlemore having a very good meeting very quietly in that Mercedes.
The Radicals driver, of course. I think he too's driving in the JRT division of the Radicals team. Well, Littlemore, yeah, running inside the top 10 already. 3 positions gained. Hall up 5, Wood up 6. Janssen up 4, Ross McFarlane and Ash Sutton both have gained 8. Josh Thompson, that's more like it, Josh. 13 positions gained after 1 lap.
Big start by Josh Thompson. Good start by Ash Sutton as well, up 8 places, his usual customary one. Foggy, where's he? Started 53rd up to 45th. So another 8 spots gained for Foggy. And he's now taking on the BMW of Andrew Whitehead, who, if you remember, in race 2, ladies and gentlemen, it was very difficult for the front runners to, well, the fastest drivers in the field to get by Andrew Whitehead. Oh, he goes all the way around. in Stowe, but has he got the momentum to keep it? I think it looks like he has. Good stuff there. And just in front of them, see a battle between Joe McDonald and Matt Bunn. As Bunn works his way back through the field, Joe McDonald down into 43rd. A bit the very back of a NASCAR race, Adam, but there's about 10 drivers behind him in this one. Harrod versus Jason Rowe just in front of them, and there's a spin. And it's Stephen Burke who's around. He was in 35th place. Russ Vector and thrusting down the order at the moment.
Yeah, he had gained quite a few positions as well, so that is a shame for Stephen Burke. Wheel to wheel between James King and Michael Hall. Who's going to be coming out on top of the throne here? That was bad, wasn't it? Going into Cops.
It was pretty bad.
Oh,
but,
Ferrari all sorts of it, and a spin. Chris Wood.
As bad as KFC running out of chicken this week.
Another Audi spins at Cops.
Wood. He just needs to do a 3-point turn here. He doesn't need to wait. That classic mistake. Yeah, and he's realised the
use the
mistake
pit
now.
lane. Yeah, he should use the pit lane step pro. That would probably help him.
Just bring Alex in for a second. There's no point waiting at all there, is there, when you've got space behind you?
No, not when you know you've got a 50-car grid out there. You know, you're like, well, I'm going to be waiting 20 seconds here, so you just, crank it into reverse and, get on with it.
I mean, he's already down to what it looks like 46th place, but I think if he'd have realised a bit earlier, could have maybe only lost 5 or 6 seconds there instead of losing, well, maybe 5 or 6 seconds, maybe 10 instead of 20 lost.
Yeah.
He's going to make a place here, though, it looks like, Adam, on the Mercedes of 15. 15? Nick Sherman's. Yeah, number 15, Nick Sherman's.
Yeah, Nick Sherman. By 45th, only running in 45th as things stand. Bimex fighting it out.
So it's at the front, it's Jake Blackall, the Australian driver, leading the way. Then it's Dave Baker. Then it's Craig Williams as a cone goes flying in the background. Ben Gregory's up in 4th. 5th is Christian Rose. Now he qualified nicely, did Rose. It's a good first race. And it's Paul Smith up in 6th place. He'll be very happy with that so far. Michael Mogren in the Radicals Mercedes. He's in 7th. Then it's 8th place for Ryan Littlemore, another Radicals Mercedes. And Matt Keeber in the Simmortal car. Then it's your own Kaiser, a team mad just behind them. Kaiser in the same car that he was in 2017.
Ferrari of Christian Rose starting to look menacing on Ben Gregory as they go onto the hangar straights here on lap 4. And just behind them you can see that is Paul Smith trying to keep back Marco Mogren. Paul was speaking to us during the break. He's happy that the temperatures have dropped somewhat, but it doesn't mean he's going to have to stop defending for Marco Mogren, who's looking pretty quick.
Oh, and Janssen forces his way through on Kaiser. King's in there. Then behind King is Hall. Carl Janssen up into the top 10. I reckon he's going to have a bit of a... he might have some questions to answer by the stewards, Adam, after this one, I reckon.
Could do first trip to the stewards. That'll probably be for Radicals as well. You get a few points penalties, especially if you back up too many incidents. There is no incident limit in this series, but as more series tend to do, they'll have an incident limit, a free incident limit, but if you pick up a few too many, you will be getting points penalties as Janssen fires it up the inside and Matt Keeber going into Priory.
Well, it does mean that cars aren't getting disqualified left, right and centre. It means the drivers have to self-regulate effectively. Sutton up the inside on Nathaniel Simpson into Brookland. He tries to squeeze Simpson. Simpson not having any of it and keeps the place. At least for now, Sutton's gone all the way around the outside. And I wonder if the British Touring Car Champion, Adam, is going to be in a position to take this place into Cops. Simpson's still alongside, though he's not giving in here. He might go up the inside. He might try the inside. Oh my word, that was close. Simpson went in too quickly. He's lost the car. He's hit the inside wall just slightly.
Well, Simpson, it came off the worst for wear there, didn't it? Stephen Baxter passed Freitas in the mix-up. That is Freitas now up into, I think, 18th place. Well, it was 20th place now, so he lost a few positions there, but good battle here between James King and Jeroen Kaiser. King to the inside going into Stowe. The Bushfink Racing Audi coming out on top again.
Who's that man in the barrier, Adam? Daniel Simpson. Simpson, eh?
One of those, one of your workers from Sector 7G.
I warn you, ladies and gentlemen. Me and Adam, we work in Simpsons references as Michael Blake. He's just ahead of Ash Sutton now. Sutton, he definitely looks like he's on the warpath in this race. Man who took the British Touring Car Championship in the last race meeting at Brands Hatch after issues for Colin Turkington. Not to say that Turkington, he was already ahead of Turkington. We'll just put that one straight. There's Sutton going to the inside. Yeah, Turkington, he went off the circuit, Adam, didn't he? Took a risk and didn't pay off. No,
I didn't. I was rooting for both of them on the day as well, so I ended up happy either way, really. Christian Rose, he wants to be happy. He'll be happy once Marco Mogren has stayed behind him, but at the moment it looks like the Mercedes wants to fight its way through. And front four for the lead. 4 tenths of a second between Dave Baker and Jake Blackhall. This has been coming down over a period of time. What's happened to James King? What has happened to James King? He was running well, but he's out. Oh, this is in Cops. Another Audi in Cops.
Doesn't like it. I mean, Alex, can you think of any particular reason why that might be happening?
Perhaps just got the aero balance a little bit far forward, you know,
on the
to
edge,
get the car to turn through, like, you know, Beckett's maggots and that. It's one of those corners, and if the wind just catches you wrong, you know, like, just come throw the balance out. But James did the right thing there, didn't he? Just get himself out of there.
There was a car alongside him, Alex, going into the corner. There was no contact, but he did lose the rear. Could that have disturbed the aero a bit?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. Perhaps, you know, I think more likely that he was going for the move. He just bent in a little bit hot, and he's probably got a car that's a bit twitchy through there already, you know.
I mean, it's one of the highest load corners on the course, isn't it? Cops,
yeah,
so.
And I don't know what the weather's doing, but you know, if you have a big gust on the way in, you know, it'll throw the balance out quite a bit, and the car will turn a lot more.
It's southwest 14 kilometres an hour. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, no. Not about looking at a map, see where north is.
Quite sure. To be fair.
Scout's knowledge not coming in too handy there. 2 tenths of a second there now between.
At the north of the field, Adam, is where we find the battle.
Yes, Jake Blackhall v Dave Baker. 2 drivers that know each other well from their exploits in the BSR-TC. Now driving 2 different cars. They used to drive in the Kia together. Now it's the Mercedes versus the Ferrari, and hopefully a battle that we do see replicated once again in Formula 1 this year.
Yeah, I hope so indeed. And this should be a good battle out here. Blackhall versus Baker. Baker was very quick in qualifying. Qualified second behind just Carl Janssen. By far the quickest Ferrari. And here comes Baker up the inside. Are we seeing a Dave Baker who knows that he has to take these chances when they come to him, because Janssen is just not quick at the moment.
That was a bit of a warning shot straight away there from Baker. I think he knows he's got plenty of time to get the job done here. He's got 8.5 minutes. Try and suss out the code to get past Jake Blackhall. Meanwhile, the battle for 4th position continues to rage. We've got BMWs here. Something's going on.
Sorry guys, yeah, 2 cars off as well. I'm just looking at something with Baxter and Blake, I think.
Yeah, Michael Blake. Did see them dropping down the order. That is at Stowe.
Oh yeah.
And
big damage to both cars.
Oh dear. Now that's Stephen Baxter going way too deep and wiping out the Mercedes, I think. That's what I've seen anyway.
Oh, big battle going on as well for 5th and 6th and 7th. And that's Rose ahead of Mogren. Sorry, ahead of Janssen, and then Littlemore.
Oh, goodness me. Yeah, it's the 2 Radicals cars fighting it out. Janssen going to get past Mogren, I think, as they come across the line. That's going to be...
It's almost not fair on these Radicals teammates, is he? He's the only one in the Audi.
They'll be having words with the admins. Turn the difficulty up. Jake Blackhall, the leader, spun in the first corner. Another car off at Cops.
Do we have a contact here?
No.
With David Baker.
Oh, tank slapper. Oh, maybe some lag. Yeah, netcode.
It's got to be netcode there.
And that is the price that you pay. Obviously, Jake Blackhall can do nothing about where he lives, but
well, he can.
But
No, but
there's an excuse to move to the UK if ever I saw one.
yeah, it's true. He was. It looked like Alex to me that Baker tried to avoid him, but just that 1 or 2 feet that would normally have been okay, it wasn't.
Exactly. Yeah, he just got a little bit out of shape, didn't he, Jake? And then, yeah, Baker just coming through.
He was trying to catch
Dave's
him,
so
wasn't
good.
Yeah, it was unfortunate.
Normally Dave's so good that he would have stopped a couple of feet behind Blackall's car and gone away with that. But yeah, netcode is such that slight difference in obviously where that car is on the circuit, the representation of the car by the sim, and Kaiser versus McFarlane, and then Thompson's just going to be inside of Bart Downman, so that's more Mercedes battling out there.
And yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is netcode. You heard it on an iRacing broadcaster. Josh Thompson, 24 positions gained in 14th place.
So that's Alex fired, that's you fired. I just need to swear or something. It would be. Oh dear! Well, Downman very nearly into the back of. Well, I think he did go into the back of Thompson. Thought it was going to be a lot worse than it actually was. It was just a little nudge in the end.
Some very good drives in this final race. Thompson, 24 positions gained. Stuart McFadden, 22 positions gained as well. Fraser Williamson, Ross McFarlane, Ash Sutton, they're all putting it on in this final race. And Carl Janssen, let's not forget, 16 positions gained. 3 seconds off the lead with 5 minutes to go. And he's lapping 2 seconds quicker than Dave Baker.
I think Baker was slow that lap though, wasn't he?
Obviously. That was down to the fact that obviously he had to avoid Jake Blackall, but that's allowed Craig Williams to get within half a second, and I wonder if he could be the threat to Dave Baker. Now Baker obviously had the qualifying speed. Williams looks like he's, I mean, he was up there in qualifying as well, I think within the top 10, but looking really good in the Ferrari. He's driving for Privateer this season. Yeah, indeed. Is Williams in car 500. There aren't quite that many cars on the grid, but you know.
Don't we want Craig to win it? So Adams, you know, if your name begins with a C, you're in luck.
Well,
there you go.
Adam will want to win it. And Carl Janssen might be giving him some hope as well.
I know we've been waxing lyrical about Carl Janssen this evening, but he was only 1/10 off the fastest lap of the race on that last run of the circuit.
We are going to see him closing in, aren't we, over the last few laps? And you know, we've got a few laps to go, 3, 4 maybe laps left.
Yeah, we've got 4.5 minutes. So yeah.
So it's, well, that'll be 3 laps, won't it? So, oh man, it's anybody's guess. What has he gained on this lap, if anything? It doesn't look like he has actually closed in. 44.2 for Baker, good time. 44.6 for Williams. 43.7 for Janssen, so only half a second. That'll do nicely for David Baker.
Fastest lap of the race so far, Carl Janssen on that lap.
Rose and Littlemore. They're battling. That's Littlemore, in fact, in the Radicals car, going past the CQR Racehub car.
The Ferrari getting passed by the Merc, and he'll be chasing after the BMW now, who's been holding its own. Has Matt Keeber dropped down a few positions, or is that just my timing screen that's malfunctioning a bit? I think it might be the latter, you know.
Keeber has dropped. Oh, he's only dropped down below Diogo Melrose, so he has lost 1 place.
So yeah, just to reiterate, Carl Janssen, 43.7, nearly a second quicker than Williams on the last lap, so second place could be up for grabs yet again, and it was the fastest lap of the race, purple on the last lap. Ben Gregory with the lights flashing.
Gregory's having a great race for BMW, inside the top 5. Got to deal with these Radicals cars now, and Rose.
The BMW drivers are so thankful that they can actually compete against these cars now.
Yeah, Paul Smith in P8. I think he'll be happy with that. He's 4.6 ahead of Ash Sutton. There's no way that Sutton's going to get to these guys in that time. Sutton 44.7, Smith 45.6. So 9/10 of a second quicker that time round. Thompson's up 25 places for Josh Thompson, by the way.
Diogo Melro versus Miguel Freitas going on here. 2 Portuguese drivers battling it out.
Well, there you go. Don't see that every day. Rex Racing TV. We've just got to make a mention of Foggy as well. Started 53rd, and he's up to 25th place. So he's got half the job done. Bit harsh, isn't it? He's had the rest of his life 28 places again, really. He's just behind James King. who's lapped actually, isn't he, James King?
Yeah, that crashed
earlier on. Simpson is the next target for Foggy. Simpson's just been passed by Sakovic.
2 laps to go. Janssen, fastest lap of the race yet again. However, he picked up an off track on the lap, so it hasn't been officially registered. 43.704 compared to Craig Williams' 45.1. I think second place is as good as it's going to get for Janssen, but that'll still be a pretty good result if he can get there. The Ferrari of Williams, hoping that he can just stay ahead for long enough.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. And oh, I can hear a crash.
Crash, is it? Yeah, is it Lenson?
Lenson, sorry.
Lenson, the McLaren.
Oh, how could I hear that from so far away? It must have been a big one.
Supersonic hearing. It was at Maggots and Beckett's.
Well, those guys were going through the middle sector, so I don't really know what that was about, but yeah.
Lost it on his own, I think, going through there, so shame for the McLaren. He is now down the order. He's behind the fighting Chris Wood, Pete Harrod, and Jason Rose. So some quick drivers he's now emerged in the company of.
Yeah, down to 45 seconds remaining here at Silverstone, and Janssen flashing the lights. Where it begins for him. 2.1, he's only 2.1 off the lead.
Doors music is starting to come, isn't it?
Not going. Surely Dave Baker, though,
Final lap.
British sim races touring car champion. He's not going to be phased by this, Alex. You wouldn't think?
No, not at all. He knows he's got this in the bag. Well, let's say 2.1 seconds. So he'll let those two fight behind, and he'll welcome the white flag, which is going to come out in about 10 seconds.
Be a shame for Williams, Adam, if he doesn't get second place, because he's driven really well and he left just that car's width. That's the cardinal sin, really. And that might end up costing him. It's very close, though. And again, for me, he's done well on the brakes there, but can he cut the Audi off? He can. Puts him off at the pass. Alex, is that cardinal sin of really, if you're going to defend to the inside, defend all the way to the white line, surely?
Yeah, you've got to, but of course he got the better run, didn't he, out the corner? So
he did.
It actually might have helped him in the end.
Yep.
Flying his way through the Abbey chicane here. Now we saw Carl Janssen dive up the inside into Bridge into Priory.
Going to go into Bridge again. Here he comes side by side, wheel to wheel between Ferrari and Audi. And into Priory, Williams. He's desperately trying to hang on, and up the inside goes Janssen. No quarter given. No nasty either. Oh, they're still side by side through the field. But meanwhile, the man of the moment, he's Season 7's BSRTC champion. He's the winner of race 3 here at Silverstone. And who's it going to be?
It's Janssen.
It's going to be Janssen on the line. That defence from Williams was excellent. Just breached at the very end. Marco Mogren. I think that's the first time in ages I've seen him get such a good result. Here on Apex Racing TV, he usually gets hit off or something. Ben Gregory in 5th. Ryan Littlemore, great result by Ryan. It's lovely driving there. Christian Rose in 7th. Paul Smith in 8th. Ash Sutton in 9th. And Michael Hall in 10th. Adam, that was a really good race, and what a first meeting of the season.
I really enjoyed it. Really looking forward to the next one. Miguel Freitas won the Battle of the Portuguese, just pipping Diogo Mauro to 15th place. Here come the rest of them then. We've got any close ones here? Someone's very, very slow. Please don't tell me that that's a person on the lead lap. It's Andrew Whitehead, who is out of fuel.
Dear Lord.
BMW as
cold weather obviously burns a little bit more fuel, doesn't it?
I think he's going to be all right. He's going to be okay.
Gets passed by Lenson, so he's going to finish 39th.
How many places did he lose? I think he only lost about, did he lose 5 places or something like that? 6?
I'll tell you in a second. He started the lap in 31st.
Okay, places lost, yeah. I mean, it could have been worse. He could have run out earlier and finished 44th, 45th. It's going to annoy him, though.
Well, someone's in a heap at Stowe. That's James King, who's a lap down.
He's extracted all the fuel out of that car. Did Andrew. And, yeah, so Adam, if you can, final time, take a deep breath, prepare yourself and go through the order for us.
Okay, so Dave Baker takes the win of the season, his first win, Ferrari's first win, and CQR Racehub's first win of the season. Carl Janssen then, second, is his worst result of the season so far. How about that? 2 second places and a win. He is flying high at the top of the championship after this one. However, there will be a steward's decision, I think, to answer for after what happened on the first lap of race 3. Craig Williams finishing in third, fourth for Marco Mogren for Radicals, fifth for Ben Gregory, and sixth, crashing his way into the pit lane, is Ryan Littlemore. Christian Rose finishing in 7th, Paul Smith 8th, Ash Sutton 9th, after starting in 29th, and 10th for Michael Hall. Ross McFarlane 28th to 11th. Good job there by the Northern Lights Racing car. Oh, bless me. Sean Kaiser in 12th, 13th Josh Thompson, 14th Bart Delman, 15th for Miguel Freitas. As I said, just pipping home Diogo Melro in the Battle of the Portuguese. Jim McFadden in 17th, 18th for Fraser Williamson, 20 positions gained there, 20 plus positions gained for Williamson, 23 for Stuart McFadden as well. So 2 very good drives, and Tomo as well, 25 positions gained, not to be underestimated. 19th for Matt Keever, 20 for Dennis Melcher, 21st for Andy Shield, 26 positions gained for car 007. License to kill, license to thrill as well as he worked his way through the order. 22nd for Maciek Sakovic, Nicole Foggy, 30 positions gained. Did say on the formation lap that he would be one to watch. I wish we had a camera on him, fixed on him, because he managed to work his way from the back to 30th place. Then, not 30th place, 30 positions gained to 23rd. Nate Simpson, 24th, 25th, Stephen Baxter, 26th for Phil Bedford, 27th for John Roberts, 28th for Matt Bunn. Of course, he was off in the gravel after contact with Carl Janssen, of course. Then 29th, Stephen Burke, Mark Woodhouse, 30th. Pete Howard started 50th, finished 31st. Jason Rowe, 32nd. Dave Crozier, 33rd. Nick Sherman's in 34th. And 35th for Chris White. And then Chris Wood in 36th in the Battle of the Chris's. Dan Lenson and McLaren finishing 37th. Did start on the second row, but did spin. I think it was on the exit of Stowe, wasn't it? And then Andrew Whitehead running out of fuel on the final few corners, finishing 38th. Joe McDonald had a few spins as well, but did manage to finish 39th, 10 positions higher than where he started. Dave White 40th. First Michael Blake. Johnny Brandon lost it in the middle of the track, didn't he? Early on, finished 42nd. Then Josh Rayfield 43rd, 44th for Scott Malcolm. And then the car's one lap down or more. James King had a spin at Cops, got damage, and was out. Pete Newman 46th for lap down as well. Robert Lundgren 3 laps down in 47th. Just what goes on with Robert Lundgren, it's such a shame, because I'm sure he's capable of great results, and hopefully we will get to see it this season. Chaz Drake got 3 laps down in 48, 4 laps down. Jake Black called the pole sitter. Nothing he could do really. Had the tank slapper, tried to correct it, but that old adversary that is Netcode struck again. Dion Phillips 10 laps down, Stuart Atkinson 10 laps down as well. So a few boosted cars bringing up the rear here. Stephen Dawson 52nd and Davey Witterballs, car 85, finishing 53rd, 12 laps down in the end. And that brings us to the conclusion the opening race meeting of the season. The next one will be at Sebring next week.
Well, indeed it will be. And we've got our first 3 victims in the commentary box for the interviews. And I'm going to come to Matt first. Matt Bunn is with us. Matt, can you hear us?
Hi, Andrew. Yeah.
Hello, mate. How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. Sweating out a little bit. Hands hurt.
Can imagine. It's a tough job wrestling these cars around Silverstone. How proud are you of this first meeting? Because the driving has been good, the turnout's been excellent, and it's a really fun meeting to watch. I'm sure you'll enjoy watching that back too.
Yeah, I'm really excited to watch the stream back. I haven't seen sort of up and down the grid, but from where I was racing, behind and in front of me, I saw some really good racing. I was involved in some good racing. But yeah, no, and you know, good turnout. I think it's looking good for the rest of the season. You know, I was involved in. I got shunted a couple of times, but you know, it's the first race of the season. Everyone's sort of getting used to these big grids in these cars. A lot of the guys are experienced in maybe the Kia and that, but a little bit different in these cars, and obviously with the BOP stuff. So we've been thrown a lot of curveballs recently, but overall, I think racing's been really good from what I've seen.
Seems like the drivers have handled it pretty well. In terms of your own hopes for the season for yourself, what are you aiming for? Because obviously you were quick at times last season. It's just more consistency, less spins, obviously, last season. Or
Yeah,
Is that what you're aiming for?
Yeah, no. To be honest, I seem to spin so much in practice than that, and maybe last season I was spinning in the races, but I was being a bit foolish with sort of wing. I liked a bit of a slippery car because it was getting me a bit quicker, but yeah, overall wasn't good for the spins. So setups changed a little bit. The approach to the setups have changed this season, and yeah, I'm aiming for a sort of top 15. Really, I'd be happy with getting in that even top 20. To be honest, we've got such a strong lineup this season.
Well, hopefully we'll change Matt Spun to Matt 1.
Fingers crossed.
Hopefully so. Mate, do you want to say thank you to anybody? Any shout outs? Because obviously it's your league, so fire away.
Yeah, so just thanks to all the drivers for sort of taking part, really, and all the interest. We had such a lot of interest for this season. Big thanks again to Racehub for sponsoring the season again. We've got Simmortal, another new sponsor for this season. It does sort of race car models, so you can actually replicate your car in your in-game car into a model, which is really cool. And you guys for doing all the broadcasting. I think that's about it. I probably forgot lots of people. There's so many people involved, but yeah, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Well, we had a lot of fun anyway, and yeah, very happy with how that went, and you should be too. Yeah, we'll see you next time, Matt.
Yeah, nice one, guys.
Cheers. We're gonna have to be quick with these interviews, guys. So we've got a couple more people waiting, so we want to try and get through a few. Paul joins us now in the commentary box. Paul, that went, I think, maybe better than you expected. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I would say so. You know, finishing in the teens first and second race, and then scraping an 8th place out of that one. It's not bad at all, really, for an evening's work in a car that wasn't best suited for this track.
That's it. You only beat the British Touring Car Champion. I mean, it's not such a terrible evening, is it? That really?
It was only 0.4 of a second faster than my per lap. It's fine.
It's fine. It's okay. And you know what? The funny thing is, it sounds ridiculous to say that, but it's an achievement in itself, really, given how good he is. But anyway, the BMW. This is what we want to get on to. How does it feel this season in terms of last season? Because obviously, you came late to the party. You had an underpowered car. You couldn't seem to fight anybody. But today we've seen you fighting with Mercedes, with Audis. It seemed good.
Yeah, it was nice being able to catch up to the Mercedes in Slipstream. It's still not great on power, but compared to like the Ferrari or the Audi or even the McLaren, but it gains through the corners and it's just dialing out. It's got natural understeer, so it's just dialing that out. And I think I got that a little bit right for that final race there, and it showed in that result. But yeah, looking forward to next week's Sebring. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I think you're right. That track lends itself to some good fighting. It's a tough track surface, very bumpy. I think the BMW might be in good shape for that. Paul, quick word, because now you're a team manager as well. So yeah, quick word for team on sponsors.
I've got to say thanks to Dennis and Stephen for tonight as well. Not the easiest of circumstances, but yeah, team sponsor. Well, it's not a sponsor. We put the logo on the car. It's Calder Rescue. CalderRescue.co.uk is their website address. They're a motorsport rescue unit, and yeah, always check them out. They're putting on some training in a few weeks' time in West Yorkshire, so check out their Facebook group as well on there as well.
Great stuff, Paul. Pleasure as always, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you.
And Adam has found Josh Thompson.
Hello, Josh.
Hello.
Well, race 3, I guess, almost makes up for race 2 and race 1.
Not really, because I'm still in a Merc. Yeah, it was alright, to be fair. Probably had a top 10 in me, but really struggled with the car. It felt alright at Phillip Island, so I came into it with high hopes, but it's been such a handful. Struggled, like you could see in qualifying, was nowhere near. And like setups what Marco and stuff like that were using, I just couldn't drive. So yeah, it's been a tough night. Got banged around a few times, well, a bit too many a few times to be honest. In race 1 and race 2, like 3 or 4 times back to back in 4 corners and stuff like that. So well, yeah, but the last race is all right.
What happened to towards the end of race 1? Because you were inside the top 20 of them, and then dropped down towards 40th or something like that.
Well, obviously, I had the incident. I think it was with Hall or Blake. I don't know who it was. Obviously, got spun around then. came back through, and then 2 laps later, I don't know, there was like a massive pile up in front. So I went to the inside, and someone didn't look or didn't check the spotter and didn't get a clear, and swooped across, hit me across the grass, which then gave me a 15-second stop and go for gaining an advantage because I went straight across the grass. So I obviously had to come in, do that, went back out, and I had to fuel save because I had 1 lap less of fuel. So I was having to like use all the runoffs, clutch kick it everywhere.
Well, now that that's out the way, plus you've got a few teammates now by your side, you should be in luck now when it comes to a helping hand this season.
Yeah, looking, I've got Marco in the Merc, but Carl decided to be a weapon and go with the Audi, which seems to be working so far. So, yeah, I've just, like I said, because obviously Marco's in the 6 Sideways team, whereas it's me, Jansen, and McCauley, but McCauley's not here this week due to personal reasons. So,
yeah, in the JRT team, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously, I knew Audi was going to be the better car after the BOP anyway, but there's another BOP coming in week 13. So you never know; it could all spiral back. So at the moment, just got to get the points. But tonight wasn't a good one for points. So lucky enough, Carl did an amazing job.
Great. Well, yeah. Well done on the 13th place. It's a little consolation. I know they don't hand out. I don't think they hand out ribbons that far down. Yeah. We'll hopefully speak to you in better circumstances next week at Sebring.
I hope so, but it's probably going to be the same story. But,
oh, that track's a killer. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, I'll hand over to Andrew Woodhouse, who's with your teammate and started the show tonight, Carl Jansen, I think.
Yeah, Carl Jansen joins us in the commentary box. Can you hear us first of all, Carl?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us, mate. And what a big splash you've made tonight. Fantastic job in qualifying. The Audi looked like it was singing for you. And 2 charges through the field. I bet you're feeling on top of the world now.
Yeah, we had the car was really good. We'd been working on the setup quite a lot and seemed to pay off pretty good.
Is Silverstone a strong track for you normally, or is it just something you've clicked with just tonight in particular?
I don't know really. I think it's just something I've clicked with now because I'm usually not the fastest person around here.
Hey, well, but it's a pleasant surprise. I'll get my words out. Hold on, let me put my teeth back in. It's a pleasant surprise then to find yourself so high up in qualifying, and as well to turn that into the race pace. You must be really happy with that. I mean, how was it from the start to the finish of the race? Was there much drop off in terms of tyres, and how did you handle that when it came?
The Audi was absolutely amazing on tyres. You just kept on driving. You barely felt any drop off. Except in race 2 when we ran in the afternoon weather. It was very hot, so there was half a second drop off, maybe a second even. But I think that drop off helped me against the Mercs and also the Ferraris because they seemed to drop off way worse than the Audi did.
Yeah, it seemed like you were getting quicker as the race went on, but surely leading the championship going into the second week, so that should be that'll be very good for you. Now, is there anybody who you want to say a quick hello to, a quick shout out before we leave you for the evening?
Yeah, I want to shout out our sponsors, Six Sideways, Roll Rail Timing, Cranfield Simulation, and Astro Sim Racing. Yeah, and then also apologize to Matt Bunn in the third race when I kind of hit him, or when I hit him in the maggots.
Yeah, he's one of the league admins. He deserves it. He'll be all right. But yeah, you might have a trip to the stewards for that one, but we'll see. But that's still a really good meeting, good foundation to build on for the rest of the season. Thanks for joining us, Carl, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, see you later.
See ya. Alex, a very impressive driver. He's Carl Jansen, and for him to say that really it was only something he clicked with just tonight in terms of the track, well, that's scary when he goes to a track that he actually feels good at from the get-go.
Yeah, I think it will be. But yeah, great performance from him tonight. So I think Baker had a good performance as well, and depending on what happens at that stewards review, be tough with who's going to be leading the championship between those two, because if he gets any penalty points, Baker with his first and second, and then what was it? He was about sort of 16th, something like that, on race 2. So he'll have scored a lot of points as well. Dave Baker always kicking around. You know what he's like.
Yeah, he's going to be difficult to get rid of, I think, is Dave Baker for these other drivers. And well, Adam, I thought that was a really good first meeting of season 3.
Yeah, the writing was on the wall for a great race meeting and a great season in prospect as well, and keep the entry list as big as it is. The tracks we'll be going to, they're going to have to find some room for manoeuvre, because there won't be too many tracks as big and wide as Silverstone. Sebring next week, that first corner where everyone gets filtered down into 1 or 2 lanes, could be a tricky one, and 3 races of it. It's going to be pretty entertaining, so make sure you come back next week and check us out on Apex Racing TV, because you won't want to miss it. We have nothing like it. There is nothing else like the World GT Championship.
No, I think you're exactly right, and I think that's a perfect time to end. So thank you everybody for watching tonight here on Apex Racing TV. This has been a presentation of the World GT Championship presented by Racehub and Simmortal Sim Racing Models, and we will be back, well, in a few short hours, would you believe, only about 3 hours time, a bit less than that actually, for the Rick Matech Sports Car Series. That's going to be live in the early hours of tomorrow morning, and going forward to Tuesday evening, it's going to be the BSR MX-5s, and then the Rallycross League continues on Thursday. So from all of us here, it's good night from Silverstone, and we've got a hell of a season in prospect. Good night.